If you eat a plant-based diet but still want to enjoy the classic flavors of a good barbecue dish, in this video I'm going to show you 3 simple plant-based barbecue dishes that you can make this year, one using tofu, one using tempeh, and one using soy curls. And the best part is you can make each of them in less than 45 minutes.
What?
Are you serious?
These are perfect for any time of year, but especially for the summertime when you have a lot of cookouts going on. You could even use these during football season as well. I hope you find this video helpful. Here's the first recipe. To kick things off, we're going to start with our BBQ Soy Curls recipe that you can use almost like a pulled barbecue chicken. Now, if you've never heard of soy curls, these are made from whole soybeans that have been formed into these little strips that you see here. This recipe is super easy. It takes no more than 15 minutes to make. So to get started, you're going to take your soy curls and you're going to submerge them and let them soak in hot water for 10 minutes. This is going to rehydrate the soy curls and get them nice and plump. Here's an up-close view of what they look like after they've been soaked. After the 10 minutes, you can drain them and remove any excess moisture, and it's time to cook them in the skillet. For our recipe, we're going to saute some red onions first. We like to saute red onions in a lot of different dishes, and this is definitely one of them. So after we season those up, we're then going to add our soy curls that have been rehydrated, and we're going to season this up just a little bit with a few different seasonings like salt and pepper, garlic powder, smoked paprika. You don't have to add too much because we're obviously going to be adding the barbecue sauce, and then we're going to keep these moving around in the skillet. As needed, make sure to scrape the bottom of the skillet because sometimes the soy curls can get a little stuck. Just one thing to keep in mind. After the soy curls have been browned, now it's time to add our barbecue sauce. You can use whatever barbecue sauce you'd like. I like using the Stubbs barbecue sauce. It's pretty simple and it tastes really good, very reliable. Now, if I didn't know what soy curls were, I would probably think that this was barbecue chicken right now. As you can see here, I made this barbecue chicken bowl that has some roasted green beans and some sweet potato fries. But again, use this in whatever you'd like. There are no limits here. Here's an up-close view so that you can really see, again, that chicken-like look and texture. That's it for the soy curls. Now our next recipe is our signature ginger barbecue tempeh, which is by far one of our favorites. This recipe is not complicated at all with just a few simple ingredients, the main one being tempeh. Now if you've never had tempeh before, it's basically fermented soybeans. It's a very good source of plant-based protein and it's a good source of iron as well. And the X factor of this recipe is definitely the ginger. Y'all, if you've never added ginger to barbecue sauce before, prepare to be amazed. It adds such a unique flavor to the sauce. So with our tempeh, what we're gonna do is slice these into some thin strips, about 1/8 or 1/4 of an inch. Feel free to slice them into whatever size you'd like. You could even cut them into different shapes like cubes. And from there, what we're going to do is add these into a bowl, and then we're going to season them, adding a little bit of oil, using some grapeseed oil. You can use whatever kind you'd like. And then we're going to add some garlic powder, some smoked paprika, and a little salt and pepper. This is just going to help to knock out a little bit of that natural tempeh taste because we're going to cook these in the skillet first prior to adding the barbecue sauce. For every seasoning that we're using today, you can add as much or as little as you'd like depending on your flavor preference. And as you can see, I placed the top on the bowl and I'm giving these a good shake just to get all of the seasonings evenly coated around the tempeh. And there we go, all nice and covered and ready to go to the skillet. So we have our skillet ready. We've added some grapeseed oil to that, which is a nice neutral oil with a high smoke point. And then we're going to add our tempeh, cooking them about 1 to 2 minutes on each side over medium heat. You could also cook the tempeh in the oven if you don't want to cook it in a skillet. The goal here is to sear the tempeh and again to knock out some of that tempeh flavor. Some people describe tempeh as having a bit of a nutty flavor. I honestly don't really know how to describe it, but again, cooking it this way definitely helps. Now, once your tempeh is done cooking, you can set it aside while you prepare your sauce. Now, for your ginger barbecue sauce, you can either grate the ginger or you can puree it using a blender. This is what you're going to add into your barbecue sauce. This time I chose to puree it in the blender just to make it a little easier. Once that's ready, we're going to go back to our skillet and then we're going to heat up our barbecue sauce and let it simmer along with the ginger to let the flavors incorporate. Now again here, add as much or as little ginger as you'd like. And what we're going to do is just stir the ginger along with the barbecue sauce over low heat. Feel free to add more sauce or even some water to help thin out the sauce as needed. And now we're gonna add our tempeh back into the skillet with the sauce, and then we're just gonna move it around to get all of the tempeh nice and covered with the barbecue sauce. I mean, just looking at it makes me hungry all over again. And that's our ginger barbecue tempeh. You might shock some people with this one. Now our last recipe is a BBQ tofu recipe that just might change the way you think of tofu, for real. So for this recipe, we're gonna be using 2 blocks of super firm tofu because it's the highest in protein. So to start off, we're gonna break the tofu up into smaller pieces by hand. This is actually gonna help the cornstarch stick to it a little better, which is gonna make it crispier. So break it into whatever size pieces that you would like. I'm then gonna add some liquid aminos or soy sauce, just to give it a bit of a natural flavoring. After this, I'm gonna add some olive oil. I'm using a spray olive oil here, but you can use regular liquid olive oil, just about 2 tablespoons should do. And then we'll add about 4.5 tablespoons of cornstarch and a couple seasonings, including garlic powder and some black pepper. I'm then gonna place the lid onto the bowl and give this a nice shake to get all of the cornstarch and the seasonings nice and incorporated. And now I'm gonna place this onto a baking sheet and pretty much do the same thing as I did with the beets. We're gonna place this into the oven to bake for about 30 to 35 minutes or until browned and slightly crispy. And once that's done, as you can see, the tofu has a nice little crisp on it and it is perfect. We're now gonna coat our tofu in the barbecue sauce. Use whichever barbecue sauce you'd like. We're going with our classic Stubbs barbecue sauce. It is one of my favorites to use. And I'm gonna give this a shake. Oh yeah, look at that. That is some good looking barbecue tofu right there. And there you have it, folks. 3 simple plant-based barbecue recipes that will probably fool just about anyone. Let me know what you think in the comments. And in the meantime, if you want to check out some of our other high-protein plant-based recipes just like these, click on this video that you see here in the top right. Stay young, stay healthy, and live well, friends. Peace.